In an earlier video, we first learned how to get a list of videos from a YouTube playlist. Then, we wrote a console app in C# to do that. And in this video, I'm going to add pagination to the console app. The links to the two previous videos and the source code for this video are all provided in the description. If you want to look at the source code for this video first, head over to this GitHub URL. So, I have a lot of decisions to make here. This is the old code. Should I start with a clean slate or should I start modifying this code? Actually, neither. The first thing to do is to not change the code at all. That's correct. The first thing to do is to think a lot when making any changes to a piece of software. In fact, software engineering for a large measure is a lot of thinking on a piece of paper with a pencil. And then for a very tiny measure, it's a bit of typing of code. So let's start with the thinking. Well, the first question I want to ask myself is, what's the command line interface going to be like? Is there going to be any change to it? I think it's going to be exactly the same. The user would type in videolist.exe space followed by a playlist ID. Although we could have a fancy pagination system where the user could be allowed to, by way of another command line argument like this, specify how many records he wants to see per page, but I think that would just overcomplicate things. Because if you recall, when we call the YouTube API, it allows us to ask for a maximum of 50 records per page. Now, if the user asks for more than 50 records per page in one of these arguments, we will have to coordinate the next page tokens that we receive from the actual YouTube API requests that we make and the number of records that the user has requested per page, and all of that is going to get a little messy. Now, if this was an enterprise app or something I was writing for a client that I was getting paid for, I would definitely go through all that trouble. But for a demo, I think it's a bit of an overkill. So let's just stick to keeping things simple. We'll stick to the same command line interface. The only difference, I think, will be in the format of the results. The output will now be in pages, where each page displays 50 records. And to get to the next page, the user has to type in any key other than the escape key. Let's say we want to keep the escape key to exit the program and stop seeing any more of the results. And for the last page, or if the playlist has less than 50 items in total, then the first page is going to be the last page. The user won't have to press any key. The results will just show up and we will have a marker at the end that reads end of results. Okay, so let's start visualizing the end result. At the very top of the results, that is only for the first page, I'd like a report header like so. It tells us the total number of items in the playlist. This we can get by the total results property of the page info object. I would also like to know how many public items are in this list. Now, if the report had, or if the playlist had less than 50 items, that would be the count of the items array. But the items array's count only tells you how many records you have in this particular request result, which may not be the total number of items in the playlist. So there's actually no way of knowing the total number of items that are public in the playlist until we get to the end of the playlist and have enumerated all the results. So for this reason, we will leave it unknown and we'll display a message in the third line to the effect that we're only going to be displaying the public results. Then at the top of every page, I'd like a reading of the sequence of records I'm reading, like so. Then I'd like to see a numbered list of results like this. And then at the bottom of every page, if it is not the last page, I want to see something like this. The text more indicating that there is more to come, and some instructions on how to get to the next page of results or to quit the program. And if this is the last page, I'd like to see a marker at the end that reads end of results. As to how to do it, you will recall from one of the previous videos that we received a value called the next page token, which we said we could send to the same endpoint in a subsequent request to get the next set of 50 results. We keep getting a next page token, which we keep sending to the subsequent requests until we do not receive a next page token, which indicates the end of results or the last page of results. Okay, this is the old code. I might have to reuse some of it, so I'll just make a copy of it. And I'll rename everything in the copy as old program and old main. Of course, I don't need to do that. I need to just rename this class, and I don't need to rename this guy because I can always set a startup object and project properties over here. But anyways, let's just do it anyways. Now, I'll delete most of the code that doesn't make sense, but there's some structure that it does make sense, which I'll leave as it is. For example, I need a length of the args. I need to find out if there was an args or not. I do need to print help, which essentially would be the same message that I need to print out. So I'll retain the print help function. I need a playlist ID, and then I need to do something else here. So this is the part that goes away. I do need the same exception handling, and this time, just for a change, I'll get rid of this console read key. And I pretty much need this function. I don't know, I might have to modify it. I'll think about it later. I do need the make URL with query without any changes, because I'm definitely going to need to do the same thing, the exact same thing. I have to change this print result guide drastically this time. In fact, that's the basic thing I have to change. So I'll get rid of this one. And I need the print help function exactly as it was. So let's start writing the rest of the code. Essentially what I have to do is, this time I have to keep getting results repeatedly until something happens. And that something is until the user either presses the escape key on the keyboard or until we run out of results to print. So I have to keep doing something. Sorry. So I'll run a do while loop while keep doing this, which is keep getting results and doing other things like printing results and asking the user to press a key, as long as the escape key has not been pressed. So not escape key pressed, and as long as there's more stuff coming up. And I haven't defined what the meanings of these are, so let's go ahead and do that. These are obviously two Boolean variables. Escape key pressed, I will reset or set everything to false as an initialized value. And now I need to set the meaning of these. So what I need to do is I need to first get results up to 50 at a time. Wow, result, which will be the same thing, get videos in playlist with the playlist ID, and it's an async function, so I'll just install the current thread. Since this is a console app, we'll get the result, and then I need to then print a bunch of stuff, which is print a header, which is a report header. I need a report header. I need to print a page header, which we've just talked about when we visualized the user interface design. I need to print a report header, then a page header, then I need to print the results, and then I need to print a footer. So I'll just make a function for each of these. I don't know what they're going to look like or what they will need as arguments. We'll think about that later. I need to print the result. Obviously that will need a result, and I need to print a footer for every page. Print report header would need to print a static message, but it'll need this guy and it'll need this guy. So it needs, I'll just give each function exactly the arguments it needs. I will not dole out the entire result to each of these functions. So this guy looks like it needs a total results, which I can get from result.pageinfo.total results. And then it needs this guy, which there's no way for us to know, but since we're designing an API, it's good to have a parameter just in case some other caller knows that stuff, we can pass it in. So the report header is going to have a line break at the top, then these 3 lines, and then a line break at the end. So I will start with a line break, I will end with a line break, and I'll print out this message over here. Obviously this is a variable, so I will need an interpolated string. I can concatenate all these strings with a line break myself, but just for the sake of fitting everything in one screen, and it's generally good to write readable code that other people can understand, I will break them into separate console.writeLine calls. And this is going to be this is an int. I need an int here, so that's total results in the playlist, which I will format 2 digits or align 2 digits to the right. This is going to be an expression, and that expression is, I need an int here called public items in playlist. In fact, this could be null, so I need a nullable int. So I'll say if public items is not null, then toString, otherwise the string unknown. And I've got an int. This is going to be dynamic, so I'll need to cast it to an int. Okay, next I need a page header, which is simply going to be the starting and ending page number. It's going to print the starting and ending page number, so it needs a from and to. Now I need to know what these from and to are, so I'll define 2 variables, integer variables, and I need to assign values to these guys. From will be, for the first page, it will be 0 to the max number of results, that's 50, or if there is less than 50, the actual number of items in the items array. So something plus result.items.count, and that something will be dependent on the page we are on. So it's going to be the page number minus 1 times, page number minus 1, that's the 2. Actually, it's just going to be the page number minus 1 into the results per page, and that's results per page we're fetching is 50, so I'll just declare a constant. And I need a variable called page number to denote the current page number that we're on. And obviously, the first time we get a result, we need to check if there were no results in this playlist, as in if there were no videos in this playlist. That'll mean result.items.count would be 0. Then I need to just print a message to that effect, no videos found in playlist, and we'll quit running the program. Otherwise, I need to set a page number, simply an incremented value, and the from record will be page number minus 1 times the number of results, and the to value will be from plus the actual number of items returned, which is result.items.count. So this guy, let's just go and write this guy. This is the easiest guy to write. That's our page header. Then we need to print the results. And in printing the results, I need the results, but I also need these numbers. So essentially I need the same sequence here. So I'm going to need, this function is going to need the result as well as the from and the to. Let's go and write this function. And I can actually just copy and paste from the old program, because this is going to be essentially pretty much the same. I can copy and paste this bit from the old code. And paste it here and say from everything in the result items, just print, I would in this case print from every time, and then after you print it, increment it, and then print the title of this video. That's about it. And every time I need to validate arguments. If result doesn't have anything, if from is greater than 2, which I'm skipping for now, but you get the idea. If this was industrial code, I would write everything again and again. Next, let's go back here and print the footer. And the footer is pretty much a static piece of text, which doesn't need any variables. The only determinant is whether this is the last page or not. So if it's the last page, it'll be a different footer. So all I need to pass to this guy is there's more. So we get this, and we haven't defined what there's more means. Now there's more will be true as long as the next page token is not null. So I will need to check there's more equals result dot page info, or not page info, just result dot next page token is not null. And that's pretty much it. And then the next time I need to give this guy the next page token. So I need a variable called next page token first. Let's have that. Let's make it of type string. And let me cache that because I need to give it to this guy. And in fact, I can, instead of saying result, I can just say check this guy. Or it'll actually be better if I just said not string dot is null or empty, this guy. If there is a next page token, and as long as there is a next page token, then there's more stuff to come. And we have the page number, and I guess that's pretty much it. Once we've printed everything, I need the user to type in any key or the escape key while there's more stuff, only while there's more stuff. So if there's more coming up, then I need to ask the user to type in something, a key. I'm expecting a key. And if that key happens to be escape key, the escape key, then that means the escape key was pressed. And that gives meaning to this variable. And I guess that's pretty much it, except now we need to change this guy. Let's go to the definition of this guy and add the string next page token. And I need a playlist ID. Let's change this. It looks ugly. Even this guy, let's change this. Okay, so I have the API key, I have a playlist ID, I have the snippet, I need the page info, I need the snippet. I don't need the description. Let's skip this time. But I do need the next page token. I need page info, and I need items. And if there is a next page token, only if not string dot is null or empty next page token, then I need to attach to the parameters a query string parameter called page token. Remember, the query string parameter is called page token, but the JSON result you get back, the field name is next page token. When we get the results, the name of the field is next page token. And that seems like I don't need any changes to this method anymore. So let's review one last time. I get up to 50 results. I'll remove comments. I hate comments. If there's nothing, I'll just print a message saying there's nothing here. If there is something, I'll get the next page token. If there is a next page token, that means there's more to come yet. I'll increase a page number count so I know which page I am on. The from and to values, I will assign them. I will print all this stuff. And then if there is more stuff, I will ask the user to press a key. If he has pressed an escape key, I will keep going. If he hasn't pressed the escape key, I'll keep going. Otherwise, I'll get out of this loop and the program will end. Let's just make sure that I have a valid ID. And let's run this code. Okay, it looks like I might have given the condition, I might have typed in the validation condition wrongly. Yes, the 2 always has to be greater than from. So if from is greater than 2, then please throw this exception, otherwise don't. Okay, it looks like we have 38 videos in this playlist, of which we've got an error. The from is 0. Why is that? -1. Oh, that's 0, yes. So it should really be this plus 1, I guess. Let's run it again. Okay, this time it looks like it's working. Okay, let's run this on the command line. Wonderful. That's a single page result. Let's run it with another playlist that has more than a single page of results. First page, we get a total of 200 records. We get the first page with 1 to 50.